Welcome to this week's segment of the Ripoff of the Week. My name is Adam Andrzejewski, and I'm the founder and CEO of OpenTheBooks.com. Thanks for joining us for yet again another outrageous example of government gone wild. You know our mission at OpenTheBooks.com. It's to post every dime online in real time. And last year, to that end, our auditors filed 40,000 Freedom of Information Act requests. It was the most in American history. We successfully captured $6 trillion of federal, state, and local spending. We do this so you can follow the money, so you can hold the political class accountable for their tax and spend decisions. All right, this week we've got a great topic. It's Democratic mayors that have defunded their police while spending millions on their own personal protection with those very police officers, on their personal protection details. I want to introduce my co-host, Tamara Colbert.
Hi, Adam. Thank you so much. As we begin tonight talking about this, I think we should share with our viewers that you are actually in Rapid City, South Dakota tonight. Why are you there, Adam?
Well, tomorrow in the morning at 9:30 Mountain Time, and it's live streamed, I address Freedom Fest from the main stage. So it's an exciting moment for OpenTheBooks.com to be able to help educate further the American people on government gone wild. My topic is 10 dumb ways government spent your money last year. Because remember, Tamara, it is your money.
Absolutely. It's our money. And so this is exactly the point of tonight's ripoff of the week. These mayors have defunded the police in their own cities, but they're spending millions on their personal police protection. Can you tell us, give us what Open the Books auditors found?
So what we found is in 30 of America's largest cities, 27 of them are run by Democratic mayors. 25 out of those 27 Democrats actually defunded their police. None of the Republicans did. The 3 Republican mayors, they did not defund their police. Oftentimes, they put more money into their police departments this year to deal with the surge in crime, of course. And defunding the police is very unpopular with the American people. 70 to 80% of the American people aren't in favor of defunding the police department. That's common sense. So what we did is we filed Freedom of Information Act requests with 25 big city mayors that defunded their police. They were all Democrats. We asked for how many police officers are on the mayor's police detail and how much that detail cost last year. And five of those big cities responded. We'll get into those details, but we do have a transparency problem, Tamara. 20 out of the 25 cities, it's been 10 weeks now, and they've refused to produce the details. We don't know how many officers and what they cost taxpayers on that mayor's security. They have admitted that the mayor does have security. We just don't know how much it costs.
That's unbelievable, Adam, that they would not even, that they're hiding essentially that information, trying to keep it from the public. But
and look,
as we talk about this,
that is one of the number one public policy issues right now in the country today. It's the resource allocation for public safety officers and first responders. So these 20 Democratic-run mayors, we're going to demand production on this police protection detail.
Absolutely. So what is it? What is defunding the police by numbers? Let's start with Chicago, right? Because Mayor Lightfoot, that's near where you guys are. She's one of the biggest mayors saying defund the police, will send social workers to homes.
So, Mayor Lightfoot, if you called her on the phone and if you asked her, like many in the media have, do you support defunding the police? She'll give you an answer that she doesn't support it. Yet here's what we found. She quietly defunded the police in 2020. Here's what I mean by that. At OpenTheBooks.com, every year we file a Freedom of Information Act request for the city payroll. And we noticed that in 2020, at the height of the pandemic, and while civil unrest was looming in the streets of Chicago, the city was literally under attack from rioters. There was 400 fewer police officers on the street. She had quietly cut the head count of rank and file police officers. And look, we the city of Chicago did respond to our request for the executive protection detail. They would not name the city officials that had that detail, but we do know from news reports the mayor does have a police security detail. And the cost of that in 2020 had peaked to an all-time high, $3.4 million. That executive police detail in the city of Chicago pulls off 22 officers to protect these public officials. And over the course of the last 5 years, the cost of it is $700,000 more than what it was last year.
That's really startling. I mean, the list goes on and on. San Francisco, is that a similar story?
So in San Francisco, the mayor, London Breed, she backed the defunding of the San Francisco Police Department, pulling off $120 million from the police department to healthcare workers and social service agencies and workforce development training. Meanwhile, her police detail cost nearly $1 million more in 2020 than what it did 5 years previous. So London Breed has defunded the police for the people. There's fewer police in the neighborhoods, fewer police protection for the people, and yet her own personal security, she's amped up the cost of that. It's now $1 million more expensive than what it was just 5 years ago.
One of the interesting things that's in the top of the news now, we are seeing almost on a daily basis, is this increasing violence in New York City. Obviously, they have a big police budget and they have made big cuts as well, correct?
Homicides are up, shootings are up, robberies are up, crimes through the roof in New York City. And the proposed cuts were $1 billion off of the $6 billion police budget. And Bill de Blasio, he backed those cuts. Many of the cuts have yet to be implemented. Obviously, crime statistics are through the roof. But New York's one of those towns that hasn't given us the detail on de Blasio's executive protection detail. His wife also has a detail, and so does his son. His daughter did, but she swore it off a couple of years ago. Here's what we do know. When de Blasio ran for president of the United States on that ill-fated run,
right,
he spent $358,000 hauling his New York City police detail across the country. So, we're expecting the NYPD to produce the details on de Blasio's executive protection detail. We want to see that.
Absolutely. So we've got Baltimore and San Diego that we're talking about as well. Those are a couple of the last towns that have actually given some numbers to open the books. What does that look like?
Well, Baltimore, out of every city producing so far, they spend the most money. I think they spent like $3.6 million last year on executive protection detail for the mayor, the state's attorney, and the police commissioner. For the mayor, they spent about $2 million for the mayor on his police detail. It was about $1.3 million for the police commissioner and about $500,000 for their local prosecutor, the state's attorney. So Baltimore's spending a lot of money. And
wow, that is a lot of money. Now, San Diego, they're also spending money, and you wouldn't quite think that would be the case, but they're even trying to spend money to protect their city council building as well, right? Along with their elected officials.
So it's for the city council, it's for city buildings, and it's also for the mayor. And meanwhile, the mayor's backed cuts to the San Diego Police Department of about $5.3 million. $4.3 million in overtime got cut out of their budget, and another $1 million went to create a new commission, a police accountability commission in San Diego. And so, look, then you have Denver. You've got a Democratic mayor that every single time he's asked about defund of the police, he gives the right answer. He says, I don't favor it. I stand against it. Meanwhile, in the national press, Denver is held out to be the new national model because this mayor has beta tested a model of not sending police officers on domestic mental health calls. So they send a social worker rather than a police officer. So on a national basis, news organizations like Axios has held Denver out as the model across the entire country on defund the police. But the mayor says he doesn't believe in defunding the police at all. So we put him in the story, of course. His executive protection detail is up about $150,000 over the course of the past 5 years. Just on salaries alone, without fringe benefits, it's $750,000 to protect the mayor in Denver.
We even have Congress, the squad has also gotten in on it. And we know Cori Bush in particular has spent a lot of money on personal protection detail. Adam, what does this mean? Because it sure seems like, what these mayors want to do is eliminate the police protection for the citizens, but, not for themselves, right? That's hypocrisy at its finest.
Well, and that's the real question here on public policy, and that's why we file these Freedom of Information Act requests. Look, it's a dangerous world out there, and if you're a mayor of a big town, you need a police security detail. However, if you back defunding the police to protect the people, you've got to explain why the people's police protection matters less than your own. And
right.
That's the purpose of this week's segment of the Ripoff of the Week.
So, Adam, what do you want our viewers to do? Lots of comments here on this. What do you want them to do next?
Well, share our piece at Forbes. So just Google. We'll put the link up in the chat room right on this segment. But you can quickly find it just by Googling Forbes, Democratic mayors defunded their police. Our article will come right up, and you'll see all the detail in all 25 towns as it stands in real time.
So there's also another initiative we continue to push, and that is for common sense required by our congressmen and congresswomen to read the bill. Can you share that website for our viewers?
Well, there's a lot of bad federal legislation that's going to be coming down the pike. We simply need a 72-hour legislative timeout so the people, the politicians, the pundits, the press, so we can hold Congress accountable. We need 72 hours to simply read the bill. And so that's the petition to urge Congress to institute the 72-hour timeout. I'm proud to say that Florida Senator Rick Scott used our petition. He turned it into Senate legislation. It will require an affidavit from U.S. senators to say that they actually read it, which would be very interesting. And that's a good piece of legislation. And we're proud that it came off of the tens of thousands of people across the country that have already signed our petition to read the bill. Because, Tamara, you don't have a representative republic if our representatives don't have time to simply read the bill. So let's do it.
Absolutely. Thanks. Thank you for watching, everybody. Go to openthebooks.com. You can sign up, get our newsletter. You're going to love it. Those facts are going to make your head spin, but they're also going to make you the smartest person in the room in any party, event, or dinner you are attending. We appreciate you watching. Join us next week for another ripoff of the week on Thursday, 5:30 Eastern, 4:30 Central. Thanks so much. Have a good evening.